morning. I'm Mayor Tommy Roberts. Welcome back to the Mayor's Table. My guest again this morning is City Manager Rob Mays. Rob, good to have you again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So Rob, this is our 51st segment of the Mayor's Table. And
it's hard to believe we've gotten that many of them done.
When we began this a year ago, I don't think that we had any hard and fast plan about the format or how long or how often or how frequently we might produce these segments and present them to the public that is interested in seeing them. But it turned out that we've published one each and every Monday of the year since we began.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about our plans for next year toward the end of this segment. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for your efforts and your involvement. And I think it's added a great deal to the quality of the production to have your expertise presenting some of the topics and the issues and discussing projects that we have underway. I think particularly the viewers have enjoyed and appreciate the insight that you have on the fiscal status of the city, and of course that is the topic that takes most of your effort and most of mine as well. But we also want to thank a couple of other people who have been instrumental in seeing these segments produced, and we have Shauna Reeves, who is on our staff here and who does a lot of work in coordinating guests, scheduling guests in, and thinking of topics for the segments that we do produce. And she's done a great job with that. And then clearly Greg Allen has done a great job in videoing these segments and producing them. And I think over the 51 weeks or 52 weeks now, I think we've seen the quality of the productions even improve. When I thought in the beginning they were very good. But I think that we learn a little bit as we go, and hopefully these productions are perceived as high quality productions with good information in them. So I want to take a little bit of time, and not too much, but let's just reflect on the past year, 2016. What is your perception about the challenges you faced and how we've met those challenges?
Well, I guess if I had to characterize the year, I'd say it's a year that we had a lot of significant accomplishments and advancing of the city, but yet our efforts were really dominated by managing the financial challenges, not unlike our whole state and virtually every community and government that people are reading about. We've had significant financial challenges, but in spite of that, have managed to get some great things done on behalf of our citizens through infrastructure investment. We've continued to invest in street paving and water line construction, sewer line construction, electric line replacements, and substations. And so in spite of the challenges, we've continued to invest in our future from an infrastructure standpoint as well as a quality of life.
I think that the kinds of challenges we face might cause a lot of local governments and governments in general to kind of sit on their hands for a while and just try to get through the difficult times. But I think that we haven't just been sitting on our hands. I think that we've been continuing to try to consider fiscally prudent projects and programs and services in our community that we can embrace and provide. And I think we've had some success in doing that. And a couple of those items are the expansion, renovation of our Civic Center, which will be taking on some additional steam here after the first of the year. We've talked about our energy efficiency program that will result in the improvement of energy efficiencies at several of our buildings, and we're doing that in a fiscally prudent way. We're talking about doing a significant improvement at the site of Brookside Park, which we think could be accomplished in a fiscally prudent manner. What else do you see along those lines?
Well, those three are certainly the biggies. Another one that we've looked at is possibly building a miniature golf course, and we've tried to focus efforts on probably two areas. One where revenue sources that really can't be spent any other way could be identified. So since we haven't had regular general fund tax revenues, haven't been flourishing, it's been challenging just to maintain the services we've had. We focused on some other revenue sources that could only be used for that. Obviously, the Civic Center being the main one, taking that $2.50 per night surcharge and leveraging that into about $11-12 million of upgrades to that Civic Center that needed to be done anyway. So there was no reason to not move ahead, and we're certainly not rolling up our sidewalks and dying as a community just because we're in these challenges. Our best days are ahead, and we're looking forward to them. Infrastructure, that I mentioned, is another one. Through good planning and good fiscal responsibility, we have funds that are dedicated towards those sources so that we aren't tempted to divert money away from infrastructure. We've got to have paved roads. We've got to have water lines that work, and water treatment plant and sewer treatment plant. We've got to have those things to be a vibrant community that's safe. So we've invested those funds, and they're there. They've got to be spent that way. You mentioned the energy efficiency. That's one that, we don't want to really use the word no-brainer very often because there's always, but that is about as close as you can get. We're doing about $5.6 million of upgrades on infrastructure within our buildings focused on energy efficiency. But these are upgrades in many cases that we have to do anyway. We have failing heating and ventilation. We have buildings that are out of code that we had to spend this money. And we found a way to actually take the actually guaranteed savings from changing out that infrastructure, leveraging that to bond it, to make the improvements now. And then in addition to that, we went out and found essentially what's going to amount to almost $1 million of positive net cash flow on those projects via having financed that through a special federal program. So again, I recognize that's taxpayer money, but that was money that the federal government had already designated. Our choices were take it or not take it, so why shouldn't the citizens of Farmington benefit from that? So there's $1 million benefit over 15 years from that program.
And looking back at 2016, I think that we both can feel that strong effort has been made to keep our community viable in a lot of different ways, and I think I'm proud of that, and I know you are as well.
So I wouldn't want our citizens to not understand that we really have faced some challenges, because we're reading almost every day about challenges at our state level, at other communities in the area, our local college. We are facing about a $7 million deficit in our revenues. We've managed that through prudence, and we've tightened our belt. We've cut about 5% of our budget in terms of expenditures. We've definitely have a reduction in workforce. We've frozen many positions. We haven't had to lay anyone off, but we have many vacancies, and we've cut out many capital projects and lots of things we're deferring a lot of things that need to be done. So we're facing the same thing that our state and our other agencies are, and we've managed that through probably about a 7% reduction in our budget.
The challenges that we'll face in 2017 then will be very similar to what we faced in 2016, and in reality what we faced for the last 7 or 8 years. Yeah. We've had ups and downs in revenue flow during that time, but if we look at where we are today to where we were in 2010, it's about the same or a bit worse in terms of revenue flow.
We actually have less revenue today, tax revenue today, than we did in 2009. So.
Right. So we know those challenges. I think one of the most imminent challenges we'll face as we turn into 2017 will be the upcoming legislative session, which will be a 60-day session. And we've learned recently that the state had probably overprojected revenue even for the fiscal year that we're currently in. And I think they've calculated that they've overprojected revenue at about $70 million. So there's going to be some work to try to find that amount of money to balance the state budget. And then for the next fiscal year, they're looking at another $300 to $400 million shortfall in revenue. So it's going to be challenging for local governments, county governments, and city governments. And we are going to have to be very much on the ball in monitoring that legislative process, because we know historically that sometimes local governments can be looked at as a source of revenue to balance state budgets.
Well, unfortunately, that has been the policy of our state legislature. They have turned to the cities and the counties by taking away the hold harmless revenues that were designed to make cities and counties whole. And so you ask about kind of reflect on our year. Our year began in January, last legislative session, with another affront coming after us for more of our money. Then they had a special session in October. It came back at us again for more of our money, and we're already told absolutely be ready in January. They're coming back for more of our money. And it just seems that while we recognize the state has major challenges in this economy, the very same economy that they rely on is the same economy we rely on. And it just doesn't seem that they have an adequate understanding of the challenges of local governments are had. And we've already tightened our belts. We've spent our cash reserves, and we have to keep our police forces staffed and our fire stations open, and with the expectations that our citizens are the very same constituents of our state government, and we've got to find a way to keep the playing field level and stick to the rules, and not be changing the rules for one entity to solve their problem on the backs of another.
Yeah. Well, so much for wrapping up, I think, this calendar year. I think I'd like to maybe turn it now to focusing on the holiday season, and Christmas is coming up Sunday, and I think we both want to wish our viewers a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. Would you like to make that wish as well?
I agree. Merry Christmas.
So we do appreciate the fact that people have appreciated our efforts to provide this information to you through this forum and through this medium. We have gotten a lot of anecdotal reaction to these segments, and many people have approached us and indicated that they very much enjoy watching these segments, and that they learn something from them. We know that our viewer statistics are pretty strong, and we're happy with that. And because we do have some fairly strong data to support our continuing this form of disseminating information, we intend to continue to do that at least through the first half of next year, and then we'll constantly be reviewing where we are and determining how to best proceed. But again, we want to thank you all for being loyal viewers, and we do hope that you get something positive out of these information sessions. In the context of what we plan to do, we're going to take a break for about a month, and we won't be putting out any segments until, again, on Monday, January 16th. And we'll be prepared to rev it up again, and in the meantime, we'll be doing a lot of thinking and brainstorming about topics. If you're a viewer and you're interested in this program and would like to see a particular topic discussed, then please let us know. You can go online at the City of Farmington website and email us or call us, and we'd be happy to entertain any subject matter for discussion on this program. So once again, we want to wish all of you a very happy holiday season. Thank you for being a supporter of our efforts here. We'll look forward to seeing you again on Monday, January 16th.